You're watching Pedestal by Ashley Sargeant Hagan. Chapter 2. As the departure time neared, Edwin shifted in his seat. Surely the lovely Adriana should be arriving at the gate soon. A flash of red suitcase caught his eye, and he stood up, hoping she would see him. Their eyes met, and she smiled at him as she approached. "Hello again," he said, trying to calm his nerves. "Hello again," she responded. The plane began to board, beginning with first class. Edwin hesitated. He was in first class, but was she? Adriana began to move toward the jetway. He followed, relieved. Inside the plane, he made note of her seat. It was on the far right, while Edwin's was on the far left. He grabbed the nearest stewardess, who blushed under his blue-eyed gaze. She nodded and approached Adriana, who was about to stow her suitcase in the compartment above her head. Edwin, who had followed the stewardess, intercepted it. Adriana appeared confused and slightly embarrassed. "The stewardess says I can switch seats," said Adriana, "to that side of the plane." "Yes, if you'd like to," Edwin said with a sheepish grin. "I'd love the company. It's a long flight, you know." She lowered her head for a moment before agreeing and allowing Edwin to transfer her bag to the other side of the plane. As she settled herself into the seat nearest Edwin, she shook her head. "How did you manage that?" she asked. He laughed. "I used this look," he said, lowering his chin and raising his eyebrows. His piercing blue eyes had a pleading expression. Adriana smiled as she folded her arms across her chest. "Besides," he continued, "I knew the seat next to me was empty because I asked specially for it to be. I like my privacy." "Oh, I see." He suddenly felt foolish, explaining it like that, like a spoiled brat who always gets what he wants. He didn't want to tell her who he was. He liked the feeling of anonymity, of being just like everybody else. He sighed. "You see, he began. "I know who you are," she interrupted. "You're the actor who plays that doctor on TV, the one who solves crimes." "Yeah," he said sheepishly. "That's me." "Don't you people usually have bodyguards or handlers or something?" she asked mischievously. "Usually I have my assistant or my agent, but this was a quick trip, one night in Washington for a gala. My assistant got sick at the last minute. I figured I could handle myself." "Speaking of bodyguards," Edwin indicated the small man and his two associates who had just boarded the plane. "I wonder who that is," he murmured, seeing the man's face for the first time. "He looks somewhat familiar." The small man appeared to be in his 40s, with dark hair that was slightly graying at the temples and a close-cut beard. "You don't know?" asked Adriana. "That's Ahmet Tastan. He's the CEO of that Turkish oil company." "Oh, now I remember. The survivor." "Yes," agreed Adriana thoughtfully. "He was supposed to be on that plane that crashed in the Balkan Mountains 6 months ago, but at the last minute he changed his plans." "And his father and older brother were both killed," Edwin said, his eyes appraising Mr. Tastan as he was settled into his seat on the other side of first class. "People said it was terrorism, that they were shot down," Adriana whispered. "What do you think?" he asked. "Everything seems to trace back to terrorism these days." She shrugged. "Maybe, but it wouldn't be the first time that a son bumped off his father for the throne." Edwin shuddered. Adriana began rapidly texting. "Sorry," she said, "just texting my friend Bethany to let her know we're taking off." Edwin suddenly had an uneasy feeling in the pit of his stomach. "Maybe we should leave," he whispered to Adriana. "I mean, if terrorists are after him, maybe we shouldn't be on the same plane with that guy." "I'll protect you," she said with a grin.